Be Your Best You, the Passionate to Purpose podcast with David Delaney. Good morning and welcome to this episode of Be Your Best You, the Passionate to Purpose podcast, where this morning I am joined by the founder of the Power of Words Festival. The Power of Words Festival is coming up in Abbeyleix on the weekend of the 20th of August. And it's sure to be an absolutely fantastic weekend for anyone with any interest in books, literature, words in general, and that's what we're going to be talking about this morning. Amanda, you're very, very welcome.
Thanks, David. It's lovely to be with you today.
Amanda, the Power of Words Festival, where did it come from? Tell us a little bit about the Power of Words and how it came about.
The Power of Words Festival is a festival celebrating words in all their forms, written, spoken, acted and sung. And it came about, I suppose, David, as a result of maybe attending lots of literary festivals myself across the country over the number of years and enjoying them immensely, but finding maybe very little space on a lot of them for people like me who are just starting out in the writing field, really, and looking for a place maybe to share my work and in a safe environment. So it was kind of from that, coupled with the fact that I had been on a writing course and had a group of friends from that course who we used to meet every year in my own house to have food and something to drink and to share our stories. And we did that every year for a number of years. Always a really pleasurable day in the sitting room, sharing stories, and everyone left feeling uplifted and in good form. So it occurred to me in probably in around Christmas 2018 that what I do every year in my house would be just such a lovely thing to do on a wider scale. I live in Abbeyleix, which is a gorgeous heritage town in Laois, as you know, and I just felt it really lent itself to the idea of the cafes and the restaurants and the little pubs and stuff been open for people to go in and gather and share stories, poems, songs, or whatever. And basically to kind of extend what was happening in my sitting room out into the wider town of Abbeyleix.
Okay, that was a brave move. I mean, it's something that you say, okay, I'm going to take this from the cozy surroundings of my sitting room and burst it. I think that was actually in the literature of the first festival, bursting into the town of Abbeyleix. Tell me a little bit about the first. What did it feel like to move from your sitting room into the town of Abbeyleix? Like, what did that feel like for you as someone living in the town, as a writer yourself? Were you scared?
I wasn't scared, actually, because if I was, I wouldn't have done it. But I was excited. It excited me, the idea of doing it. I didn't have anything to lose. I mean, the worst thing that could have happened is nobody showed up, and that's not the end of the world. I was excited to, I suppose, extend the idea, as I said, probably to a wider audience for people like me. I suppose I brought events to the festival that I would like to go to myself, and it's very probably self-centered in that way, in that I look at the program as, well, what would I like to do if I was going somewhere? And I think that's a fairly good indicator. If I like it, I'm sure lots of other people like the very same thing and for the same reasons. So that was it, basically. It wasn't a nerve-wracking thing. There was a volume of work in it, but thankfully I surrounded myself with wonderful people, a great team of people, and it wouldn't have happened on my own, or it would have maybe on a very, very small scale, but it was everybody's experience around me. Everybody had different strengths and everything fed into the pot. So it was a group offering, and it was an enjoyable one for both ourselves putting it on and for everyone that attended.
you got some big names in the world of words, let's call it. We had Sheila Forsey, John McKenna, Niamh Boyce. I know Pat Inglesby was honoured in a forum as well. What did you do to get those people there? Did you just pick up the phone and say, "Hey, I have this festival coming up. Do you fancy coming along to Abbeyleix and reading, doing a workshop?" How did you get the names? There were just a few obviously that I mentioned. How did you go about getting those people involved?
Yeah, just kind of more or less exactly what you said. Just picked up the phone. I'm doing this. Would you be on for it? And thankfully, everyone I asked was very much on for it. I suppose through the writing workshops or whatever, I met a lot of writers, fellow writers, and you meet people that way when you're kind of, when your paths are crossing along the way. So I felt very comfortable approaching everybody, and as I said, nobody took the nose off me. Only delighted to be involved, and very happy to be involved in it. And I think, the feedback from the writers who came would be very, very positive, that they themselves felt very relaxed and looked after, and it all felt very informal. And again, just like that chat that we'd be having in the sitting room. So that was a great result.
So the fast forward, so at the end of the inaugural festival, great success, and you decide, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this again. Good buzz, great vibes. We all know what happened. And we're not going to talk about, because we know exactly. What happened with you and the festival, I suppose, in terms of, you had this fantastic event and then all of a sudden you were physically prevented from doing the event again. What did you do in the interim, or what happened with POW 2020, let's say?
Okay, well, we had just announced our dates actually in early 2020 when, as you say, the C word arrived, and paid to all of that. I suppose through our 2019 festival, I had made connection with Dr. Mark Hilliard of Hilliard Press, who are based in Tennessee in America. And the idea was mooted at that time in 2019 of maybe working on something together in the form of a writing competition, and having the winning entries published. So that's what we went for, to fill in that gap of where there should be a festival. We launched that very weekend a writing competition to all writers based in Ireland to submit short stories up to 5,000 words long, to be considered for selection. We asked Andrea Carter, who's Laois-born author Andrea Carter, who is renowned in crime writing in Ireland and beyond. We asked Andrea would she judge the competition for us, and she kindly agreed. So Andrea selected her top 10 stories, and those stories then were forwarded to Hilliard Publications to publish for our festival. So that has now come into being, and we are now in receipt of the anthology, and we're very excited about that. And that will be launched. That's one of the main events of this year's festival. It'll be launched on Saturday, the 21st of August. We will have each of the 10 winning writers attend to read their stories. There'll be some music. They'll be presented with their awards, which are 5 free copies of the anthology each, and a locally crafted memento of the festival.
And it's an in-person festival, obviously COVID compliant, you might call it, but certainly COVID aware. People can come and attend these events. Yes,
sorry, Dave, for cutting over you. The festival, I felt I wasn't interested in doing a virtual festival. The first year was very intimate, and that's the feeling for it. So I'm just glad we're back doing an in-person festival this year. It won't be as intimate, obviously, as we'd like. We won't be sitting on top of each other just yet, but we will be gathering safely and distance, and all the lotions and potions will be supplied for everybody to feel safe in the environments where we will be gathering.
Excellent. Okay, Amanda, tell me a little bit about. Okay, we're going to rewind to, I suppose, words and yourself and the influence of words on your life. You're an established writer in your own right. The Bus to Buy Ragged, one of your plays, was performed around the country. Were you always a writer? Is that what you wanted to be when you grew up, let's say?
Yes, I did want to be a writer when I grew up, and then I grew up and I found out I needed to probably settle. Sounds like a sad word maybe, but practicalities came into being, and I needed work, to paid work, and I suppose I left the writing aside as a hope to come back to someday and do, and so that's what I did. I packed it away, like a lot of us do with our childhood dreams and hopes. We packed them away with the hope of unpacking them again one day. And that I did unpack them. I unpacked them probably following a bout of illness, David, when I realized how short life can be. And if you're packing stuff away for, when you're retired or whatever, there's no given that you're going to be here at that time. So with that in mind, I said, I need to strike while the iron's hot and find out, go to some writing classes, improve my skills, or be with like-minded people. And that's when I signed up through NUI Maynooth for a creative writing for publication course. That was tutored by Suzanne Power and John McKenna. And it was a year-long course. I met some wonderful people. And that year-long developed into a further 2-year development then, which was called the Two Roads courses. So across the board on those 3 years, we had lots of experience of trying out different types of writing, novel, memoir, poetry, playwriting, which turned out to be my own personal favorite. And as you say, I went on to write a play and produce and direct it, and a small little bit of acting in it and everything. So I went the whole kit and caboodle on it. And so, I mean, it was unpacked. I am thankful that it's back in my life, and I'm continuing to do some writing myself, but also really enjoying facilitating the writing of others through the festivals. So
when we look at the current situation, with writing and literature, and I know you're not a fan because of the perception, I suppose, of when you say it's a literary festival, you don't want people to think it's a stuffy, it's from talking to you, it's accessible. It's first and foremost, it's an accessible, come along, be comfortable. It's a safe space for emerging writers to express. Are you worried about the future of, with the impact of technology and all that kind of stuff, particularly on younger people's lives? Are you worried that it's an art form perhaps that's in danger of getting lost, or what's your idea around that?
I think, suppose, having younger people in my own home, they might not necessarily pull out the traditional book that we'd be hoping, but they are reading. They're reading online and in different ways than we did, and that's all fine too. I think when people are reading, it doesn't matter how they're reading or what shape it is, but I mean, obviously it's lovely to hold a book and to be physically involved with the book, and that would always be my preference. But as I say, the next generation are coming up in a different way, and that's fine too. Once they're reading, that's A1, and I suppose people probably have to adapt to the digital world, that's maybe the way forward or whatever, but I think there will always be a place for the physical book in people's hands. So that's
what's your favorite book? I have to ask, what's your favorite book? Do you have a favorite piece or favorite poem or something that inspires you?
Okay, you probably caught me there now because I hate being caught on the hop, but I have lots of favorite books. Suppose I really just enjoy the ones I'd go back to time and time again would be John O'Donoghue books, Anam Cara and Blessings, Beatitudes, and all of his works. name's probably escaping me just at the minute, but they're the works I enjoy most because I find I go back seeking wisdom, seeking solace, seeking insight. So they'd be probably my favorite kind of books, but there's lots of other ones. Man's Search for Meaning is another good one that I enjoy dipping in and out of. I'm sorry now because I know I should be reeling these off, but I can't.
I put you on the spot, so I do apologize. Sometimes it's always good because the good ones just bubble to the top straight away. Tell us, Amanda, I know we're coming up in time, and thank you. I know you're under pressure for time yourself, and delighted to have a slice of it today. Tell us a little bit more. The festival's coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Tell us how we can find out some more information about Power of Words 2021.
Okay, well, if you go to our website, powerofwords.ie, and we are also on Facebook and Instagram, the Power of Words Festival. We have a Twitter account there too, and all the details will be there, and they'll be in the local papers as well. But the festival runs the 20th to 22nd of August of this year, so just a couple of weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, and hopefully everyone can come back out and, as I say, venture back out again into the world after a very probably scary and withdrawn period for us all. It will be nice to socialize in a very safe way again in real life. So hopefully that will be the case.
Excellent. Power Words Festival, certainly worth checking out. Amanda Kelly, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Thanks, David. Lovely being here.
And that's it for another week. Thanks for joining us this morning, and do join us next time on Be Your Best You. Have a good week.